Fellow tennis nerds, brand you might not have encountered, at least in a while. They've been on the market before, but more like a blade style racket. Here we go with a power. This is 98, this is 100. Eric has mainly tried the 100, but he has hit a bit with the 98 as well. And they are interesting rackets. I would call this the pure drive, which makes sense to kind of enter the market with rackets that have a bit more pop, a bit more spin. And interesting frames. First impressions I had, you might have seen on Instagram or YouTube Shorts. I really like the Acro Speed. Felt like, you know, plush, has this kind of spring tech. They call it dual spring technology, where the sweet spot feels kind of nice and sweet, despite it being a slightly firmer layup. Nothing harsh on the arm though. What was your impressions playing the Acro Speed 300?
Yeah, I mean, very easy to hit with. I think we just, you know, we played down the middle.
Yeah.
I think pretty good sweet spot, I feel like.
Yep.
Yeah, I think it's like, it's a little tighter in the middle, and then it's a little more open on the outside. You can see right here, the spacing on the last couple lines are pretty wide, and it's pretty dense in the center.
Yeah.
And even at the top, it's actually pretty open, and very open on the bottom.
Yeah.
If you see right here, so. But given how tight it is in the center, I think it actually has a pretty big sweet spot.
Yep.
So it works for the frame. It's a 26 millimeter beam in the middle, so it's pretty thick. It's pretty stocky, but I actually didn't really feel that in
comes through there pretty quick.
Yeah, it comes through there pretty quick. It's got an interesting grommet system.
Yeah.
I mean, Mizuno, they make great golf clubs.
Yeah, it's
so
true.
You think they could?
We both play a bit of golf on the side.
You think they can translate that to rackets, and I think they did here for sure. Yeah, I think for level wise, I mean, it's a pretty light stock. It's 300 grams. I'd probably add a little bit of weight, but I don't think it needs a ton of weight. Like, I feel like it was pretty stable off the baseline. Didn't like have a lot of, like, you know, I think twist issues through the air. So for 300 grams, I think it's pretty stable. Yep.
No, it's like, I loved it because, like, in a way I felt like it's plusher than like an E-Zone or a pure drive, but it still has good stability. You can still get some pop. Maybe not as much power as the E-Zone 100, but kind of close to the pure drive. I felt like the string pattern was maybe the best thing, because it's like you can hit a flat shot with pretty good control, but it's still forgiving enough, as you said, with the outside. So I think they did some work here with the string pattern. Also, I feel like they have that kind of, like, I don't know if you've tried Bolt rackets, but it's kind of like a subculture brand. Like, it's a cool brand. They have this kind of patented like spring tech on the sides, and it almost feels like that, but with control. Like, the bolts can be a bit springy, a bit more clash-like. This one is not like a clash racket. It's like an easy pick up and play, point and shoot. You're not gonna have the best control in the world, but that's not what it's for. I think it competes really well with like a pure drive 100. I think it's like, if you wanna like have a different racket,
softer response.
Softer response, you know. Definitely, I don't see any like arm issues unless you string really tight.
Yep.
With this one, it feels like the stiffness is maybe like high 60s
yep.
Strung, so nothing crazy, you know, and yeah, good comfort, ease of use. I really felt like it was a bit of a surprise in a positive way, you know.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think if you try it, you should definitely give it a demo.
Yeah, you should demo. This is a demo.
Yeah,
racket.
Definitely demo it. Give it a try. If you're like in the pure drive kind of family, you want that power, but you know, I think it has a little bit more dwell time.
Yeah,
than,
for sure.
a pure
for
drive.
Sure. It's a dual spring.
Like pure drive, like kind of shoots off the string, man. People love that for the pure drive. So I think, yeah, if you're into the 100 lighter, you know, kind of 300 range for weight, static weight, I think this is a good option to try.
For sure. Then we have the 98. That is kind of not as convincing as the other one, I gotta say straight out of the bat. But as soon as the string tension dropped a little bit, I felt like I enjoyed this one as well. I'm not sure if it is labeled as a spin racket. It's called Acro Strike 305. Maybe it's more like a pure strike. That's maybe where they aimed at. I haven't read any marketing text. We're doing this pretty raw. We'll superimpose anything or add anything to the review, so you might see that differently. But it's always fun to try rackets relatively raw. We've tried these a bunch though, so it's not like a a review coming from nowhere kind of. But this one, more control. You have a smaller sweet spot for sure. It's felt. It's in the same family, I feel like. Nothing crazy in terms of launch, like nothing crazy in terms of spin.
Pretty balanced racket.
Yeah.
I think maybe I would add more weight to the handle.
Yeah. This one felt like the balance, and this could be a QC thing, but it's obviously almost like even balance without the. This one has the overgrip, so it's a little bit different.
Yeah.
But also you feel it on this one that there's more mass in the hoop here, and that can be like it's not coming through quite as easily. Yeah. This one you can kind of feel hit any ball. This one I think is definitely for a slightly more advanced player who likes a bit of heft and can like
More swing weight for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah. You use the swing weight to its advantage, right? And it doesn't have the funky grommets. Like these are really funky grommets.
Yeah,
I'm not exactly sure what's going on.
Yeah, and the throat.
Maybe more.
Specifically, I think in the throat, it's even here, it's kind of got that like flared grommet
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah,
I
this
don't know
one
if
is more a
has it,
standard,
yeah.
standard throat bridge grommet here. So I think this is a little bit more like your average 98. It's not a bad racket by any means. I felt like I was a bit more like impressed by that one straight away. I wouldn't say this is bad, but I just felt like that one was like the best one, and just like a little bit easier to use in today's game, and you still get some decent control. So really well done, Mizuno, for bringing out two rackets from like, in my perspective, kind of out from nowhere, because I didn't know about these frames. Maybe some people have known for a long time, but I was like a little bit blown away by how good that was one for just picking it up and playing in the third of it.
Yeah, I think anyone was like it. I think they sold a good amount there too.
Yeah, they sold a good amount there.
At least the rack didn't have that many rackets when I walked by it, so
it's a good sign.
Yeah, it's a good sign.
So interesting. So if you want something that, you know, probably you're not seeing a lot around the clubs, you're seeing mainly arrows, you're seeing pure drives, you're seeing maybe Wilson blades and stuff. These rackets will bring something different, but will still be good rackets. They're high quality, making it even more difficult to choose a racket. You have to go to tennisnerd.net, you have to get a consultation or do something because it's tough out there. But mainly you need to demo. You can go to Tennis Warehouse, Tennis Warehouse Europe on Tennis Only, my partners there, and check out a demo program. You get a bunch of rackets, you try them, you probably have some idea of what works for you or not, you know. Always the issue with demo rackets worth mentioning is that they come with some pretty crappy strings usually, but I think they allow you to restring it if needed. But you have a week at least to get some feel out of it. But yeah, you were also pretty impressed by that one, right?
Yeah, I think for like a 300-gram, 100-square-inch racket, it's pretty unique in terms of the dwell time.
Yep.
It's got a unique sensation from that standpoint. Yeah, I mean, I had a fun play test with it. I probably add a little bit of weight just because like I'm more probably closer to like 305, 307.
Yeah, yeah, that's your
unstrung,
spec,
so but you know, I think it's great when it's lighter. Like you have more room to customize.
Yep.
Which is awesome. But I actually felt like at 300 grams, it's pretty stable.
Yeah, it's pretty stable.
I didn't play a match with it, but like I didn't return like, you know, a big serve out with it. So that'd be interesting to do just to see kind of how stable it is off of like a heavy kick serve or something like that. But I think I think out of the two, I definitely gravitated towards this one a little bit more. But yeah, it was a fun play test for me.
For sure. For me too. Both can handle flat shots pretty well. They're no spin monsters, but I think for most amateurs, club players, I think like having that control is pretty nice. It's a good
big
feature.
sweet spot, like, you know, good
So a lot to like here, for sure. Nothing stand out in terms of like power or serve or spin. It's just like a solid performer overall, I would say.
Yeah, I agree.
All right. Have a nice day now, guys, and don't forget to play some
tennis.
Whoa. Let's end this video with some general string advice for these Mizuno rackets, starting with the Acro Speed. This is a well-dampened racket, so I would go for a crisper, slightly stiffer string. A shaped string seemed to work better than a round one for me. Tourline A5 was a bit too muted in this one. All the power probably would be the same, so I would prefer a Tourline Otoro, which is a softer option, Solinco Confidential soft, slightly stiffer, MSV Focus Hex, etc. I think a tension range for the Acro Speed would be somewhere between 50 to 53 pounds, depending on your preference, of course. The Acro Strike, on the other hand, is less string sensitive. I think most players might want to go below 50 pounds for this one to open up some more depth. Here, a round string like Tourline A5 or Restring Sync makes more sense. If you want a softer option, Laxolon All Power Soft is a nice one. Hybrid setups can also work, so there you have some ideas for demoing and testing these rackets. Let me know what string you prefer in the Mizuno Acro Speed and Acro Strike.